690 employee importance. So basically what it is, it's a median legal question, by the way, and it's basically give you all these employee ID and ID number and then also the employee importance. What you need to do is everything is represented in the array, and like employee ID 1, and it has importance 5, and it has two subordinates, basically 2 and 3. That's the ID 2, ID 3, right? And then ID 2 has importance 3, but it doesn't have any subordinates. And then 3 is the same thing. You can look at the tree structure here, and it's 3 and 3 here, and it doesn't have any child. And if it give you ID 1, you're supposed to calculate all the importance number basically of itself, and also you want to return the child's importance add up together. So when ID equals to 1, you want to add up importance 5 with 2's and 3's importance number. Basically 5 plus 3 plus 3, that is 11. So that's the first example that they give you here. And the second example is our tree structure represented by array like this. ID 1, importance 2, this has a child of 5, and child of 5 importance is minus 3, and it's empty. It doesn't have any subchild, and ID equals 5. So it only wants you to return this importance number of this ID 5, so you return minus 3 in this case. And then here's some constraints here, and here if you take a look, and Google asks this question 3 times, Apple twice, and this is a typical depth search question. If you look at the tree structure, basically all it needs you to do is that you can just the most easy way is probably write this to a hash map, basically with the ID as the key, and then the value will be the rest of the importance number and also the subordinates, which is really nice. If you look at the employee class here, it has everything defined for you already. It basically has a self ID defined, and then the second one is importance, and the third one is subordinates, which is really, really nice. So you write into a hash map first, and the hash map will have ID on the left side, and then the right side is the value will be all the employee information. And once you write it to a hash map, and then you can refer it, all you need to do for this is you do a depth search. You calculate the number of importance number of the node itself, and then you run the depth search recursively. So for all the subordinates that you want to add it up together, and then you just add them together, and then you return the subordinates that you calculated eventually, all the numbers, and you return this value, and then you call the depth search function to run on the ID that it gives you to run, and then that should be it. Let me show you how to do this in code then. So the first step is that you want to write it to an employee map, basically is the hash map. And for the hash map is you want to use the employee's ID, right? So I'm just going to say employee.id, and that's the key, and the value will be E for E in employees. So it will write the employee ID, basically, which is like 1, 2, 3 on the left side, and then the value will be the importance and the subordinates. Everything will be as the value for each employee ID, right? That will be the hash map. And then in the hash map that we can quickly look up information. So I'm going to define our depth search function here to do the to do the search, I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna pass the employee here and as the parameter. So basically, what we wanted to return is the total importance number, right? I'm just gonna say the importance number is equals to the hash maps, the employee ID that we got passed, that one of the parameter defined in the employee class, that's the importance, right? So basically that employee's importance is the importance number that we want to calculate. And then, so we're gonna, next step, we're gonna calculate the importance number. How do we run this depth search? Is that for every the sub-employee, for every sub-employee in the hash maps employee IDs, subordinates, the subordinates is also defined for you in the employee class here. So you can say subordinates here. For every single ID number in the, I'm just gonna call it S, in every single S in the subordinates here, what are we gonna do? So we're gonna run the depth search on the S in every single subordinates here, right? That's what we wanted to do. And then when we run depth search on the subordinates here, we will have the importance number. And then what we need to do is adds up all importance number. So importance number, add every single subordinate's number, and then we calculate this together. By doing this, when we call the depth search function on the subordinates here, it will add up 3 and then add up another 3 here. So because 2 and 3 are the subordinates of the employee ID 1, right? So once we calculate it, the function essentially it wanted to return is the total importance number, right? Once after this step, it will, if you, the ID that you run is 1 here, then it will return 11, right? And then the last step is that we will need to call the depth search function on the ID that they give to you. Here it will give you an ID number, but we want to return the depth search result, right? And then that's it. Oh, employees, that's the array number. Yep. If you think this is helpful, please like my video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon with more Leetcode questions.